Hello, and welcome to a lecture on types of cause and effect. So in this one, we're going to cover what is cause and effect, one causes with multiple effects, multiple causes with one effect, and a chain reaction of causes leading to one effect. On the surface, cause and effect seems rather straightforward. It's one event that happens and leads to another event or outcome. This is very basic understanding of cause and effect. However, if we study a little deeper into the constructs of cause and effect, we might find that it's not so straightforward as we once thought in some cases. There's a gray area that could leave us wondering just what led to where we are. Confused yet? Good. Get ready to be a little bit of a bumpy ride. Why bumpy? Because you're going to find that cause and effect is really in the eye of the beholder at times. What one person sees and experiences can skew how they view an event or what they might do after something else has happened. It's this gray area that we embark on every time we step foot into the realm of cause and effect. So get ready to follow a rabbit hole. Let us look at some historical instances that might have us rubbing our head, wondering what's what by the end of it all. For the one cause with multiple effects, I'd like you to think back several years, maybe well over 100 or so years ago. Okay, possibly a few hundred years. Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was determined to prove that he could find a faster shipping route to India. As a result, he instead discovered the Americas. This had numerous effects, some good, some bad. And no one could have guessed at the ramifications of this one cause when it originally happened. I'm going to list off 3 effects to help illustrate how important it is that you have a clear focus if you're using this type of cause and effect relationship. Because of Christopher Columbus's discovery, new diseases were brought into indigenous cultures and nearly wiped out entire tribes of people. Various countries from all over Europe wanted a piece of the new land and set out to claim it, some with complete disregard for those who were already here. At the same time, this new discovery of land allowed oppressed religious classes and people, including those attempting to flee from the witch trials that were in full force against women who practiced medicinal ways with herbs and such, to find a new home. There are a whole slew of other effects as well. The effects you focus on would really depend on your thesis and what it is that you're attempting to show. The examples I have don't quite match up for a paper. If I wanted to write about the mistreatment of Native Americans, I would use the first 2 examples. However, my third example doesn't fit. I would have to reconsider that one in order to make sure that my paper was concise and focused. With the multiple effects, you will need to be cautious of the same thing. What effects do you want to focus on, and why? A multiple causes and one effect takes place when you have a perfect storm. One of the best instances of this is the movie Perfect Storm, which came out in 2000 and was based on a nonfiction novel by the same name. In this type of cause and effect relationship, there are multiple factors that lead to this one event taking place. In the movie, the causes were different colliding weather fronts. There was a high weather front that was immediately shadowed by a low front, all out of the north. To the south, there was a hurricane. These fronts collided together. And the last factor or cause was a fishing boat out on the water whose crew was completely unaware of the dangers that encroached upon them. These factors all played a hand in the deaths of 6 men out at sea during one of the most horrific storms the Northeast has ever seen. Multiple causes, each one on their own is harmless. But when you put them together, you end up with a powerful effect. For this type of cause and effect, you would look at each cause individually and then tie them together to show how combined they led to this one effect. The order you present your causes in will really depend on the tone of your paper itself and how you want to use those individual causes to build tension for your reader. The final type of cause and effect could be a bit of a rabbit hole with any number of approaches to get you started. And there's more than one approach you can take. This is the chain of events. I'm going to present you 2 different examples so that you can see 2 different types of approach to your paper. For example 1, we're going to start with Adolf Hitler. He plunged the world into a global war and took the lives of millions of Jewish people and others with this ideation and his propaganda. But what led to him taking such drastic measures? We know that the country elected him based on his political ideations. Might it have been his post-World War I views that led him here? What about his time before his political ambitions? During World War I, Adolf Hitler was temporarily blinded during a gas attack on his unit. There was a chance then to eliminate the man who later led the war into another devastating war of global proportions. However, was it Hitler alone who led the world into another war? Or was it those who filled his head with propaganda during the First World War? And who led those propagandists to their beliefs? Might they too have had a hand in what led to World War II? This is a chain examined backwards. We started with the end effect and went back one step at a time. For this paper, I might be arguing that society has more to do with the leadership elected than most give it credit for. Let us look back at something more recent for our second example: the murder of George Floyd at the hands of law enforcement officials. The immediate aftermath was riots and public outcry on the matter. However, this led to further riots and public outcries throughout the entire year and all across the nation, along with a cry to defund the police. The act of defunding the police led to higher crime rates in larger cities, including flash mob robberies in high-end stores. This led to a cry for police reform and refunding. But by that time, there were a large number who had left the profession, leaving police in numerous areas understaffed. And all of this has led to calls for stricter bans on guns and more gun laws, even though criminals will always be able to get their hands on firearms regardless of the laws in place. Where this chain of event leads, we have yet to truly see, because as of the filming of this segment in the summer of 2022, we're still in the middle of a chain of events that started in the spring of 2020 with one man's murder caught on camera at the hand of law enforcement. As you can see, there are a couple of ways to approach this type of cause and effect in order to get your information. You can start with the end result and work your way backward to see how far back you can go in your chain of events, or you can know where your starting point is. You can start there and work your way forward in the chain to see where it ends up. Either way is correct. You'll want to select the method that works best for the tone of your paper and the point that you want to make. No matter what cause and effect you select, you want to make sure that you have figured out your type of cause and effect as well as your thesis statement. or your purpose for exploring this specific relationship before you do any other work on your paper. Without a sure knowledge of these two items, you're likely to get lost in the endless rabbit holes that can be found when embarking on the cause and effect paper. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please be sure to send your professor an email using that inbox or email icon in your learning management system. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you on the flip side.